Ladies and gentlemen, meet the most DEI team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I'm not quite sure that's grammatically correct, but blame F-150 America for this, as they've bastardized everything. And calm down, F-150 America. I'm actually going to lay out some really fun stuff and interesting facts about the NFL and the Philadelphia Eagles. The easiest place to start when we want to talk about diversity on the football field with the Philadelphia Eagles is the quarterback position. Now, long before the past season, which we had a record-breaking amount of quarterbacks, black quarterbacks to start on the football field, I believe of 15, there was a time where getting a ninja back there was a little taboo. Hey, brother, what you doing? They can't read defenses. They should play receiver. They should play the running back. However, the Philadelphia Eagles has been one of the teams that has been, I guess, as you people want to call it, colorblind to that, right? Trying to put the best guy on the field and giving, black quarterbacks an opportunity, all right? Starting the days of Randall Cunningham 2 years before the Washington team was led to the Super Bowl by Doug Williams, whether it's also Rodney Peete, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, and Jalen Hurts. I do want to include that on the Michael Vick portion, giving Michael Vick another chance. That also shows being a bit more passionate, right? So add that to the team. Now, the Eagles have the most starts by a black quarterback in NFL history, 396, and have had the sixth best record since 1990. So it's not like getting those Negroes back there was causing much of an issue, okay? Now, let's do that in comparison with a team like, I'm looking at you, New York Giants, who have only had two black starting quarterbacks. And mind you, I believe one of them only came in as a relief. Now, the first black starting quarterback they had was in 2017. I believe Tyrod Taylor is somewhere on that list. They've only drafted one black quarterback since 2000. And so they've only had 6 starts. All right, now, New York Giants have won Super Bowls. They have been pretty okay. But since 2000, you might want to start leaning into what the rest of the NFL is leaning into with these RPO offenses and get yourself a brother. Same with you, New England Patriots. The Tom Brady days are over, right? You leaned a lot on him. You won a lot of Super Bowls on him. Shift things up. I know Drake May was decent, but maybe Joe Milton was the guy. But anyway, put the best guy on the field. Now, I know some of you might be saying, well, okay, HQ, come on, what's this whole black quarterback thing? Why are you hounding on it so much? Well, listen, NFL's majority are black players, all right? And you're telling me that it wasn't until now that GMs were able to figure out, hey, maybe those black guys can also throw the ball? That's a story for another day. Oh, sit tight, F-150 America. I've got one for you, too. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles breaking the mold yet again. Remember, the trope is that white men can't play quarterback. I don't know why you would say such a thing. Not athletic enough. Hips don't turn enough. The Eagles said, go to hell. We drafted Cooper DeJean from Iowa. Plugged him right in, and he has been a great contributor along with Quayon Mitchell on the DB staff. All right. Now, he's been really great. I think he's got a promising future ahead of him. And if that's not enough for you, how about 2 white boys? Reed Blankenship. Now, normally, you've seen a few guys play safety that are of the Caucasian persuasion, but the Eagles said, prepare for double and make it trouble. Now, I'm afraid to share some of the nicknames that the Eagles fan base has started calling these 2 white brothers, but you can go search for yourself. And speaking of the fan base, you have to give us credit. I know people say, oh, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're this, they're rowdy. One thing you've got to say, we trust Howie. We trust Jeff Lurie and say, hey, listen, man, you want to diversify, you want to include, you want to give out equity, we will trust you regardless of the tropes that we think guys should be when they go on the football field. And you want to get out of the race, hey, let's talk about international. Look at Jordan Mailata, right? A rugby player all the way from the other side of the world. If you know him, as sweet as can be. Jordan Mailata was a rugby player from Australia. The Eagles front office scouted him. Notice, hey, this guy can play the offensive line position. We know it. We can prove it. You know what they went and did? They went and grabbed Jordan Mailata, plugged him in. He's been a stud ever since. And he's got a pretty decent singing. You want to get away from the players. You want to get away from color. What about the Philadelphia Eagles opening a sensory room, a silent room for fans with autism, right? Most people say when they go to football games with kids with autism, there's a policy in the NFL. Once you go out, you can't come back in. It might get a little too much for these kids. You know what the Philadelphia Eagles said? Hey, listen, we're going to build a room just for that. Kid needs a break. A little silence room, headphones. Look at Swoop hanging out with the kids. The Philadelphia Eagles have that. That's called inclusion, babe. Remember about 7 years ago, right? Colin Kaepernick. People like Jerry Jones was saying, if you kneel, you're off my team. Not the Philadelphia Eagles per se. Now, I'm not going to give the Eagles that much of a credit because it's still a good old boys club. They were still a little bit in line with the NFL's agenda, but what they did do is they give a little bit, just a tiny bit of leeway to the players on the team and say, hey, listen, we're going to try to work with you, try to see how we can be a little more mindful of what's going on in the sensitive nature that we're in. Doesn't mean that they were very supportive of Kaepernick's endeavors. Look at this article from The Guardian about 7 years ago, how the Philadelphia Eagles became the NFL wokest team. Now, this wasn't an insult. Unlike nowadays where you guys have bastardized the word woke, this was actually said in a kind way, right? It was discussing the athlete activism from the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you remember back in the day, Malcolm Jenkins was a big proponent of this, right? An excerpt of that talks about how the players from the Philadelphia Eagles were asking public defenders when it comes to police brutality or how police stops, individuals in America and asking really critical questions, substantive questions. It led the public defender to say, you know what, hey, listen, man, these guys are serious, right? They weren't just asking little cookie cutter questions. Why do you think that is? That's because the Philadelphia Eagles franchise has set the tone for them. Even when there are weaknesses, I will admit, when it comes to head coaching position, front office staff and things like that, teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers have the Eagles beat, right? But even then, about 2023, now these guys are gone now. Jeffrey Lurie did hire Howie hired three members of the coaching staff, both offensive and defensive coordinators that were minorities, right? And I remember Jeffrey Lurie saying that, hey, man, the Eagles are colorblind. That's right, brother. Colorblind, right? They just want the best coordinators, just want the best players. So even that was a little step forward for Jeffrey Lurie. And I would say that's probably our biggest weakness, or the NFL's biggest weakness. Good luck getting a black head coach. And when you get him, he's gone after a year if things go left. So, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, the most DEI team in football history.